We are back on Morning Line. Our guest with us is Jim Shulman. He is the vice mayor here in the city of Nashville. We got James waited through the break. Let's take his call. And we can take others. 737-7587. We've had some good calls this morning. James, good morning. How are you, James?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind, buddy?
Brother, when you got 2 or 3 events going on at the same time, you can do a traffic manipulation. One of them's called a reverse spiral. Say you got A, B, and C, and they're all going on at the same time. You let them out at different times, and you do a reverse spiral on A, and then on B, you do a counterclock spiral, and the other one you do a down spiral, which changes your traffic flow. You don't butt them into one another. You spiral them out away from everybody.
That makes a lot of sense, and that makes me think. All right, now, I'm not sure if you can comment on spiral, but I have seen, doesn't law enforcement sometimes get control the traffic flow of some of the traffic lights?
Oh, yeah.
Where they can, they can see it's really backed up here, and this is not so bad. Let's just not go with the normal flow. Let's change it to green and get these folks through. So I see what he's saying. There can be organized dispersal. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, the traffic control with the lights, they do that.
Yeah, they do that.
Can you shut off certain roads, say it's going to be so busy this time, instead of two-way, we're going to make it one-way going this direction, and this one, that's a little harder for just a given night.
But I'm thinking about what James said, and I'm going like, okay, how do you figure out? And hopefully, I would think our NDOT people, Nashville Department of Transportation, the police understand those things, but it's okay to keep throwing this stuff in and trying to figure out whether people have looked at this. Now, in terms of letting things out at different times, that's a really good idea. It may be easier said than done, though, because a baseball game, as you may know, doesn't have a ending time per se. I mean, it goes until that last out is made, and they could go into extra innings. It may be a while.
And with baseball, though, sometimes people leave early like you do.
I left in the 8th.
That's still pretty
Charlotte
good.
was ahead by 4 runs at the time. So we just figured it was okay to leave.
Do you go to the Sound? I have not been to a Sounds game this year, and it's right behind the station. Beautiful venue.
Oh, yeah.
Do you go? And I enjoy baseball, but it's more of just the fun of the venue and the experience than they're pros, whatever, AAA. Still, to me, the difference between major leaguers and what you have with the Sounds is night and day. The major leaguers, in my opinion, are borderline superhuman. What you see in the major league, and this is entertaining, but I'm more going to this not so much for the baseball, but for the crowd with the baseball and the social event.
Oh, it's a great event to go to, and a lot of people go. And when we were leaving a little bit early in the 8th inning, there were people out there playing ping pong. There were people out playing mini golf. Everybody was in right field.
What did you eat? What did you eat? Did you get a hot dog?
I'm not disclosing that.
Did you get a hot dog?
No, I got the chicken fingers.
Oh, yeah.
And they were very good.
Some of those, they make hot chicken fingers.
They do. I got the non-hot, but it was good. Go back to James's comment if we got a minute. I'll pass that along. I think what people are saying, what everybody has been saying on this call is it's not good. We know it's not good. How do you coordinate better with no mass transit system, with limited access in and out of the city, and with everything kind of, I mean, you said the Sound Stadium, it's right behind here, but it's close to downtown. We're downtown, basically. And you got stuff going on at Nissan, you've got Bridgestone, you've got all the music events downtown. And you don't know when things are going to let out. So what you could do, I guess, is you could try to plan. And I don't know if we do this. It's like, okay, so maybe the Sounds game starts a little earlier. I know it's hot, or maybe it starts a little later, so that when, when the wrestling thing is ending, the Sounds are still playing, so people are let out at different times.
Would that be like Butch Spirited and the sports council or whatever, trying to kind of put their heads together and go, let's look, we have all these events, can we try to stagger it? And sometimes, because of TV and other things, you just can't. I don't know, you're like me probably. Locals that come into downtown, and I've learned this now, you can kind of know the best ways to get out. There's a lot of visitors here, tourists, and people who don't come downtown that often that live around here that don't know it. But when I'm downtown or anything, I come here to the station and then I go out the back way. I go over toward the Maxwell House, maybe get on the interstate way back here behind the Sound Stadium, or I go down Charlotte. I go the other direction. I don't try to get on the interstate right here, right across from the Riverfront Park. Forget it.
Well, you may want to ask James at some point when he calls back whether he's got. We all do the same thing.
You have little secret ways out that definitely, to me, it's like not going to bother. It's a little farther going this way, but you're not in the gridlock. And then you get around and then you hop on and you see the gridlock. You're like, I missed it. It's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
But is there a better way for people who don't know those shortcuts?
No, yeah. No.
And where the traffic control is going like, okay, just keep going, and you've got the light sync so that it works, and people are flowing out of the city or onto the interstates, and people are going like, wow, that was easy.
Because you're right, but Jim, it's bad even when we don't have a bunch of events. There are given nights where there's nothing really going on at any of the major venues, but there's always stuff going on downtown. And then you throw in all of the crazy, what is the hot tub on wheels and the tractor pull and the party buses, some of that stuff. It's pedal taverns. You're toast. You throw that into the mix. Folks, just plan on budgeting an extra couple hours if you're coming downtown to get in and out, and a few more bucks to pay for parking. Let's go to Tom. Tom, good morning. Hi, Tom.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Hey,
how you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I don't live in Nashville, but I come down there sometimes for some of the events. And, it looked like they would have the events like on Friday night, one event. Then Saturday night, another event. Next weekend, have events set up where you only have like one a night, maybe two a night. And it depends on the area where you're at. And I'm like you, Nick. I go out the back way.
There you go.
Sometimes it takes me longer to get out of Nashville than it does for me to drive up in the Cumberland Plateau.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, it's really I know it's hard, being in Nashville with all the construction going on. You got everything you got happening right there, right where everybody has the events.
Yeah.
That makes it even that much harder. I know it makes the police officers have a harder job to do so. But yeah, if they'll just split the nights up on it, they wouldn't have so much traffic control.
Well, maybe, but then these are all individual venues. We didn't even mention Ascend. Okay, that's another venue that's right up there. So that's an outdoor concert venue. You have Ascend. They kind of schedule according to themselves. Bridgestone does, Nissan does. I mean, coordinating that or telling one, no, you can't have the Doobie Brothers that weekend because, they've got, another concert going on. You can't do that.
Well, I understand that, but I also understand Tom's point. Okay, so one of the things that we hear quite a bit, and I don't hear it as much now, maybe it was because of the pandemic, but prior to the pandemic, people were, particularly Nashvillians, people who live outside of downtown, don't want to come downtown for events because they know what they're going to run into and they just don't want to deal with it. So I'll give you an example. Nashville Symphony.
Yeah, Symphony. There you go.
Symphony Hall.
There you go. Right.
But as people, I heard from people in Nashville who said, you know what, I just gave up. I don't want to go down there anymore for a symphony concert because on a Saturday night because it is so difficult to get out. Now, is it better for the symphony to then switch nights? They have to look at that internally.
Sure.
But if they had stuff on Monday or Tuesday nights, maybe when it's a little less crowded, maybe people wouldn't worry so much. Saturday nights, with at least 3 events going on, maybe even more, that much more difficult to get out. And people go, I just don't want to fight the traffic. I'd rather just stay home.
Yeah.
Or go to dinner someplace further out and then just go home and not worry about going downtown.
Yeah. The other, I want to hit on this when we come back, and maybe some of the viewers can share. If you come into the downtown, I was going to ask you saw Chief Drake, I think last week, went and honored this guard who was working at one of the downtown bars that intervened when there was a scuffle going on with law enforcement and some idiot pulls a gun. And this guy jumped on him, put him down, and they were able to disarm him before things really got out of hand. But what do you think? I'm to the point now, and if you go through the police blotter every weekend, it is long. But the vast majority of them being arrested, at least now, are not local. So it's all these visitors, tourists, or people come around, and they come here, they get drunk, they get stupid, and then they get arrested. And it happens constantly. I don't feel safe downtown half the time when I'm down here now. I just don't, because you just look at the busy areas. Guns pulled, shots fired, people arrested, the cops doing the very best they can. And I don't know what you do with it. It's packed, and they're coming from out of the area, but it's bad. I mean, it's a long list every darn night of the number of arrests. No one likes to say that. You're the vice mayor. It's a great city. It's fun. But I'm telling you what, downtown a lot of times I don't feel safe. We'll take a break and see what Jim thinks about that right after this.